Hey, welcome back to Edwin Recapped. Today we gonna explain a comedy and sci-fi movie titled Weird Science. Warning, spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie begins with two nerdy teenagers, Gary and Wyatt. As soon as they see girls doing athletics, they fantasize about them. Moments later, Wyatt comes back to reality by telling him that no girls like them. Meanwhile, two boys, Ian and Max, approach them from behind and pull down their shorts. As a result, they show their hidden treasure to the girls. After that, the two walked away embarrassed. Later, the two friends find themselves at Wyatt's house. His parents have entrusted him with the house until they return from a trip. While they are watching a movie, Gary gets a brilliant idea. Since they don't have the guts to meet a girl, they decide to create one. Wyatt is very skeptical about this, but Gary manages to convince him to use his powerful computer to create a beautiful and bold girl. So they start making a girl by scanning the magazine cover, model and measurements, and parameter data into the computer. Then for extra brains, they hack into a giant government supercomputer. After hooking electrodes to a doll, they wear bras on their head as a ceremony. As soon as they start, lightning strikes the house, and disasters start to take place inside the house and in the city. Out of the mix of bytes and kilowatts, a beautiful woman pops up in bold looks. They named her Lisa. While taking a shower together, Lisa suggests them to go out for a party. They were dressed in suits without any sense of style, and after leaving the room, their suits changed immediately. Then it turns out it's all thanks to Lisa. She is able to magically provide some great clothes and a car to them, and they head off to a nightclub. As soon as they enter the club, Gary revealed to her that they were not 21 yet, and Lisa gave them fake IDs. Initially shy, but once they had a few shots of Old Red Bull, they get along quite well with the club patrons and other much older people. Gary drinks too much and Wyatt along with Lisa takes him home. It turns out that Wyatt's older brother Chet has come to stay with him while their parents are away. Chet is a stern and obnoxious guy. After offering Chet some money to leave him alone, Wyatt brings drunken Gary into the room. Then Wyatt goes outside to find Lisa. She approaches him from behind and starts kissing him intensely. Gary and Wyatt wake up the next day thinking it was all a dream. Then Gary notices that Wyatt was wearing Lisa's underwear. Meanwhile, Lisa invites them to have breakfast. It turns out that Wyatt loses his virginity the night before, but he fell asleep. Then Chet walks into the kitchen and eats Wyatt's breakfast. He notices Lisa's panties, but doesn't care, as long as Wyatt pays him to not tell his parents anything. That day, Lisa takes them to shopping, while they buy perfume for her. Lisa buys some attractive panties to impress them. While they were waiting for her, Ian and Max spilled juice on them. Then as they were leaving, the two noticed Lisa and could not take their eyes off her. Lisa returned the look and the two started following her. They talked to her awkwardly, and then surprisingly, Gary and Wyatt arrive in a black Porsche. Then it becomes clear that they are with Lisa. The popular dudes are stunned. Lisa announces that she wants to have a party at Wyatt's house. This worries Wyatt because he has strict parents. Lisa doesn't just throw a party but insists on meeting Gary's parents. His parents notice that Lisa is much older than Gary, but it gets worse when they learn that Gary is invited to a party. Lisa openly says that there will be alcohol, white powder, girls, and many other things, but Gary's parents are completely against it. Gary's father tries to kick Lisa out but she won't budge. So he decides to call the police. At that instant, Lisa pulls out a gun and so Gary leaves for the party. In the car, Lisa shows him that it was only a water gun. Despite this, Gary is sad, because now his parents will be even stricter with him. But he doesn't know yet that Lisa has erased their memories of what just happened. Later, the party starts, and hundreds of teenagers show up at the door of Wyatt's house ready to go wild. Not being used to parties, Gary and Wyatt hide in the bathroom. In the bathroom, Gary and Wyatt meet Deb and Hilly. Thanks to Lisa's magic, the girls are attracted to them. Meanwhile, Wyatt's grandparents are having dinner at the restaurant, and they have the wonderful idea to pay him a visit. Back at the party, Ian and Max trade their girlfriends for Lisa, but Gary and Wyatt refuse. Instead, they show them how they created Lisa, and after wearing bras in their heads, they are set to creating a girl for them. Lisa realizes something is wrong and sets out to find them. After a series of discrepancies out the door where a new girl should have come out, we see Lisa. It didn't work because they forget to hook up the doll figure. As a result, a rocket come out of the floor. Soon after, Wyatt's grandparents arrive and are shocked by the mess inside the house. Lisa greets them warmly and freezes them. Wyatt is speechless at the sight of them, and Gary takes him into the bathroom to help him recover. Lisa learns that Gary and Wyatt have low self-esteem and decide to help them boost it. She magically calls the biker into the house, who starts to scare everyone. The armed bikers start taunting Gary and Wyatt, but the weird things they used to do. Lisa carefully guides the events so that the normal shy teens are forced to appear tough and in charge under pressure. In fact, the bikers target Deb and Healy so that our heroes can defend them. In an instant, the two become much more confident and with a gun manage to chase off the intruders. Then Deb and Healy end up making out with Gary and Wyatt, and things are looking good. The next morning, Chet arrived home after the duck hunt. He noticed that the house was destroyed and his room snowed in. He sets out to find Wyatt but finds Deb in a bed with Gary. Later, he finds Wyatt with Healy. Chet immediately asked for an explanation, and Wyatt promises him that Lisa will tell him everything. In the kitchen, Chet found his grandparents frozen in the closet. Lisa told Gary and Wyatt to drop the girls home, while she will take care of Chet. Gary goes over the speed limit in his Ferrari, and the police start chasing him but then loses them. Wyatt took Healy home and kissed her exactly as Lisa taught him. Back to Gary, he started telling Deb that Ferrari, the clothes didn't belong to him. Nevertheless, the girl said that she loved him anyway. Well, things are going great for them. Chet is turned into a little monster by Lisa. She will turn him into a human being if he apologizes to Wyatt and Gary. Gary and Wyatt return home. Now that they have girlfriends, they decide to think about what to do with Lisa. Lisa is sad that they won't see each other again. But at the end of the day, she planned to help Gary and Wyatt find girlfriends. After an emotional moment, Lisa vanishes into the smoke, as Wyatt's parents return home. Lisa magically repairs the damages from the party and turns Chet back to normal. In the end, we see Lisa is still among humans at Gary and Wyatt's school. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notification, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.